Welcome to Raising the Bar. I'm your host, Linda Hood, and I started this podcast because somewhere along the way, the world forgot that lawyers are human. So behind every case, every courtroom win, every late night email, there's a person with a story, a journey that's meaningful and it's worth hearing. So this podcast is my way of pulling back the curtain and giving the community a chance to see the attorney behind the profession. It's not just what they do, but who they are, their wins, their family, their hobbies, their work in the community, their reasons for showing up every day. So this is about connection, authenticity, and changing the narrative around what it means to be an attorney. Good morning, I'm Linda Hood, and I'm your host for the Chattanooga Bar Association's podcast, Raising the Bar. This morning, I'm here with the Hamilton County Juvenile Court Administrator, Keith Grant. But now, before we get into the law, let's just hear a little bit more about Keith Grant. All right,
Very
are you
good.
ready?
Yes, maybe.
So, what is something small that's been making your life a little better lately?
Something small making my life a little better, I would say, is probably recently is actually doing yoga. I have said for years I'm going to do it, and finally this year I've started. And so I usually go at 6 in the morning
Right.
to yoga near my house, and it's been great. Everything feels better. I feel better. Turns out all the good stuff people said about yoga is true. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing recently that I've done that's made a big difference.
Okay, I think that's awesome. I love yoga. Do you also do any, because guys do it too, do you do any Pilates or any of that?
I have not, but I'm just dipping my toes in the water of all of that. So I
On the-
may at some point.
Yeah?
But right now I'm just going to try to focus on yoga for a little bit until I get into the routine,
Right?
and also maybe get a little bit more limber and a little less self-conscious when I'm there before I start doing Pilates.
Okay, that's interesting because about a couple of years ago, somebody had approached us to maybe do some yoga for the bar members in the morning, but do it on Zoom. So I think that might be kind of a fun thing to try. I don't know.
I think that would be great.
Yeah, see how many people are interested in doing yoga.
Yeah, and we might even be able to do get a studio somewhere
Mhm.
at a certain time and do that. So I think that'd be great for
It would-
people, for
yeah.
those like me who've been wanting to do it but just needed a good outlet for it.
Right.
Or a good spot to do it in.
Yeah, that's perfect. What's a movie that you'll stop and watch every time it's on? Is there a particular any particular one?
I don't know that there's a particular movie that I would stop and watch. Around Christmas, my family always watches Christmas Vacation. It's like the beginning to the Christmas season. We all can quote it. The kids can quote it. Everybody can.
That's hilarious.
But also movies like Elf around Christmas. Like
Yeah.
if it comes on, it's hard for me not to watch.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I like movies, but as far as rewatching things, unless it's a holiday movie, that's about it.
Yeah.
I just don't rewatch movies, and I don't know exactly why, but I don't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, a lot of people don't even like to watch movies. So
I like to watch them. The one issue when you have a family is by the time we all actually pick a movie, we're all out of the mood to watch a movie. And so you have to really start days in advance, I think, to get the movie. And that way you can enjoy it without all the stress of
Right.
picking what movie you're going to watch.
Isn't it awful that we have to plan that we have to plan that? But
Put it on our Outlook calendar.
Okay, now I'm just like I said, and we're just going to have some fun on some of these
Sure.
questions. So, what is your most used app that you?
Most used app is, and especially recently, is probably Wonderground.
Yeah.
I find it's correct less than I am, about 20% of the time, I think. But
Mhm.
nonetheless, I always check it to see what's going to happen the next week, or especially the next couple days. So I say Wonderground. I also use Monarch, which is like a budgeting app, and that's probably second.
Oh, nice. Okay. Okay. Have you since you used Wonderground, have you heard of Engel? I think it's Engel Weather Service. It's on Facebook.
I have not.
And it's incredible. It's like he's right 90%,
Uh-huh.
95% of the time. It's really cool.
Well, it sounds. I probably need to check that out
Yeah,
because
it's
it seems
okay.
like Wonderground does not seem to be terribly accurate. If it's like the next day, it's good, but anything past that is.
Okay, if you could instantly be good at something, what would you choose?
Oh, it would be the guitar. Yeah, I've picked it up and tried for years, and then I'll stop and not do it for years. But that would be the one thing. I really love music and just never grew up learning, just didn't learn music as a kid
Yeah.
as far as how to play. And so playing the guitar, I think would be fantastic.
Do you like to sing?
Uh, Other people do not like for me to sing, Linda.
Mhm.
Yes,
I
do I like to sing? But nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
And so, yes, in the car, in the shower, if nobody else is home, but otherwise, I try not to sing too
Yeah,
much.
by myself. I always
Yes.
tell everybody I can hum really well.
That's right. Yes, I had a friend in high school that a couple of times he was like, "I'm pretty sure you're tone deaf," and he would test me to see if I was tone deaf. From what he could tell, I'm not tone deaf. I just can't sing very well.
Area tune.
That's right. So yes, I do love to sing. Not good at it.
All right, well, enter my world too, because I can't either. Okay, beach, mountains, or staying home? What do you like?
Between, I like them both. We have gone to the beach with the kids and had kind of a relaxing week, and you just kind of do your thing.
Yeah.
Um, but I also really like the mountains.
Mhm.
We've taken a few ski trips. I'm not really a skier, but we've taken a few trips into the mountains. What I really like to do is travel just to new places generally.
Right.
So we went to Portugal last year,
Ooh,
and
nice.
then we went to Yosemite, not Yosemite. We went to Glacier and Yellowstone this
Mm.
past summer, and I'd been to Yellowstone but not Glacier, and so just enjoyed both of those. I think we're actually, interestingly, I have an aunt that's funding a family trip for us to Hawaii this summer, and
Oh,
so that'll be fun.
nice.
Um, I think it should be a really nice time, and then we're looking at possibly taking a trip to kind of the Bavaria area for next Christmas to spend Christmas season in Germany and Austria
Oh,
for a
wow.
week. And
That
so
that's been a bucket list. I would love to do
I
that.
think for Christmas especially, it would be really nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so
Mhm.
I think to answer your question, I just like to travel and see new things, and so whether it's beach or mountain, either one is fine.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. I love that. Now you talked about guitar, but if there's a skill or hobby that you wished you'd picked up earlier.
The guitar is the big one. I have for 20 something years studied French, and so I wish that I would have started learning French at an early age. It's so much easier to learn language as a kid, and the only option I had in high school was Spanish, and so I spoke that, and for some reason I just didn't, or I didn't speak it. I took the classes, and for some reason I never liked it as much, and so
Mhm.
French has been fun. Um, According to Duolingo, after 25 years of studying, I've now reached, I think, elementary proficiency. So yeah, so that's impressive. Yeah,
I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. I can't. I still could maybe talk to a like a 7-year old.
Oh, that's great. Okay, that's neat to know. Okay, after your yoga and while you're driving, do you like to listen to the podcasts, music, or just silence?
Music.
Yeah.
Periodically, I will try to do podcasts, but it's kind of the same as movies. I think I just lose interest in them, and so really, music. I like music a lot. It also gives me a chance just to kind of think about my day, and I can wander off a little bit while focused on the road.
Yep.
But I can wander off, let my brain wander a little bit, and so music's really the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Do you consider yourself an introvert, an extrovert, or depends on the day?
I think I'm a little of both, and I've seen extrovert defined as people who get energy when they're around others, and I think if that's the definition, then I'm an extrovert. I really like people, get energized when I'm around people, enjoy talking to people, meeting new people, hearing what people like and don't like. But at the same time, sometimes I like to just sit at home in front of the fire and read.
Right.
So I think I'm maybe a little bit of both, depending on what day it is and how much of each of those I've had. So if I've been around a lot of people,
Yeah.
I probably am ready to be by myself for a little bit. But if I have to be by myself for too long, I'm ready to meet new people.
Yeah.
So yeah, so probably a little of both.
Okay. That's interesting. All right. So you've already talked about yoga. One last question is, what does your morning routine look like?
And now, a lot of people, I read a few years ago I think the 5 a.m. book, talks about get up at 5 and do 20 minutes of exercise, 20 minutes of meditation, and kind of 20 minutes of reading or some kind of edification. And so I've tried to do that, but I don't seem to be the person that has a set routine every day. Like
Hmm.
some days I wake up at 5 and do those, try to exercise and meditate and read. some days, like this morning, I woke up at 5 and thought, I don't want to get out of bed. And so I slept till 6, got up, did Duolingo for a little bit and learned some French,
Yeah.
had a cup of coffee, and then kind of slowly started getting ready. And so I think it just depends on the day.
Yeah.
I would like to be that person who gets up every day and has that same routine, but that's just never been me. Yeah.
It's funny. I get up at 5. I think that's always my routine. Even even on weekends, it's like, "Oh, I can't sleep late." I feel like
Yes.
I'm that person too that I have to get that bed made. I
Yeah.
have to. It it has to be. I have to get it in order. That's the only thing I have to do. Is just as long as my bed is made,
Oh, that's funny.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm good. Every,
I've never suffered from that. I do not need to, yeah, my bed doesn't need to be made. I think the biggest habit is wanting a cup of coffee. Like that'll get me out of bed
oh,
oftentimes in the morning.
oh yeah.
And I do like that. Feel like I function better in the morning. I like getting up early,
I do
but it
too.
just seems like sometimes if I'm a little more tired, I'll just lay there for a little longer.
Yeah.
And so then it just throws off my routine. Um, but I try to get exercise or something in the morning because it seems to start the day off better.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move into the practice of law.
Okay.
So you are currently the Hamilton County Juvenile Court Administrator. So what made you? I probably should have asked you this first. What made you decide to leave the active practice of law and serve as the Juvenile Court Administrator?
So there are numerous reasons why I made that choice. Um, some of the reasons are, as everybody who's practiced law knows, it's a grind, and you never seem to be able to put it down. And
Yeah.
so, computer went with me on vacation. Computer went with me at home. Watch a football or basketball game, and oftentimes read a deposition. Even if I wasn't actively working, I was thinking about it.
Right.
And so it's tough. There's conflict all the time, and just after a while, I think it wears on you. So that's part of it. I thought it would be nice to get out of that for a while. The other part is really I started in law hoping to make a bigger societal difference. Um, when Judge Filial asked me to come on as administrator of juvenile court, I felt like that was a good opportunity to be able to do that.
Right.
If anybody, if you talk with Judge Filial for more than 5 minutes, you see how excited he is about juvenile court and
Yeah.
how much he wants to help kids and their parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he asked me, and it seemed to mesh with kind of what I wanted out of life anyway, which is ability to kind of have a greater societal change. I think I'm able to do that a little more at juvenile court than I was in my previous practice.
Right.
Um, I think we did a lot of good in my previous practice. I got to represent a lot of good folks. We represent a lot of doctors and cities and helped them during difficult times, and I really took pride in that. Of course, I loved all the people I worked with. My
Mm-hmm.
firm was great. But it just, like I said, going to juvenile court, getting a chance to work with Judge Filial and really doing the great work every day over there it's been fantastic, and I'm glad I made the move.
Yeah. Well, you were in a great firm. They were
I was.
great. We have 900 members of the Bar Association, and they're all great. I mean, the thing about it
Well,
is,
there's a couple. I'm just kidding.
I don't think that people really understand what lawyers do on a day-to-day basis.
I think that's right.
I mean, it is incredible. Y'all never leave it. You never leave it.
You don't, and it really does just weigh on you. And I know some lawyers who just love it, think it's just great, and would do it every time. Do it again every life. If I think was it Max Bonner one said that he would do it for if he had 3 more lives, he would do it for all 3 of them.
Right.
It's probably not me. I've
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I've enjoyed what I was able to do for folks in the practice of law, but just as far as my enjoyment of it, probably not. I
Yeah.
don't have that desire to do it over and over for several lives.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you, for the public, what do you do as the administrator of juvenile court?
So we had an intern when I started. I started in July and had an intern in August, and he said something, asked me kind of the same, and I said, well, I'm kind of still figuring it out, and it seems like it changes from day to day. I in charge of the budget. We have a large budget. We have actually 5 budgets. The main court and then the detention center. And so we've got several budgets. So that's been the focus over the last month or so for me.
Wow.
Other than that, one of the things that the judge wanted me to do is come in and kind of just look at everything and assess and say, are we doing this right? Are we doing it wrong? Is there a way that we can change this? And so I've been looking at a lot of the systems that are already in place in juvenile court and seeing if we can do anything differently.
Nice.
Then, more standardly, HR issues. So if we have a problem between employees, I help sometimes mediate those.
Right.
Really anything that the judge might need, uh, as far as even sometimes helping me with scheduling or whatnot, just something that he might need. And one of the big things, and a thing I've really enjoyed, is meeting with outside agencies to see how we can collaborate with them to
Nice.
help them and also to help the court. And so, Big Brothers Big Sisters has come over, the Family Justice Center, the Children's Advocacy Center, partnership, all those groups come over, and I really like working with them to see how we can collaborate with them to really have a positive impact on the folks that come to juvenile court, and sometimes just folks that are also in those other areas.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Let's go back to back to the practice of law for just a second. So, where did you go to law school?
I went
And
to
why did you choose that college?
so I went to LSU, um, and probably especially early in my life, like many things, it was a probably half thought out idea as to why I went there. Um, I I thought about law school at an early age, and hopefully you're not going to ask this later on because I'm going to preempt that question. But I thought about law school at an early age, and it kind of talked myself out of it. Wasn't for sure that I wanted to do that. Uh, took a year off after undergrad, and during that time, one of my good friends, who's brilliant and a great person, has done really well, got into some legal problems, and so I actually helped him with that, and with the lawyer, helped him hire a lawyer, and went and watched, and I thought this seems pretty fun, and so that's kind of where I decided I think I would go back and would go to law school. Um, Picking LSU, my now wife, we were just friends at the time, and it was in January, and I was tired of cold weather, and we went down to Baton Rouge to visit some of her friends. And so I went by LSU, and for some reason, I've always liked LSU, even as a kid. I had LSU hats and followed their baseball team. But I went down, and it was January, and it was like 75 degrees, and I thought this is fantastic. I would love it here. So went to the school, picked up an application. They also had a study abroad program where I got to study in Aix-en-Provence.
Right.
And so I thought, with all that, it seems like a good place to be. So I sent my application out. Um, Actually, when I sent my application, there was 12 or 13 inches of snow in Jonesboro when I was there, and I thought, if LSU picks me, then I'll be happy to, if they let me in, I'll be happy to go. And so that's how I ended up at LSU. The weather and the studying overseas option, those were the big selling points
Nice.
for me.
Okay, that makes perfect
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. So you said you and your at that time, she wasn't your wife, but how did you meet? How did you meet your wife?
So we have known each other. We've been married for 20 years.
Mhm.
I hope that's right, so I don't get in trouble. I'm pretty sure that's right. We've known each other since '93, since I was a senior in high school, and she was a freshman at Emory.
Okay.
We had mutual friends that said, I think they would really get along well. And so we went on a double date, and we argued the whole time. It was funny. Our friends were like, "Well, never mind. We clearly missed that one. That's not going to work out." But we stayed friends and talked with each other, and we did argue, but we were both pretty strong folks, strong personalities, and
Mhm.
so, or at least strong-willed. And so we stayed friends. And when I moved back from law school in 2004, we started hanging out more, and just became more than friends, and got married a year and a half later. So we've known each other. If I do something stupid, she can't say, I didn't know you were going to do that, because she's known me long enough to know that I might do something stupid.
Wow. Okay. Now that's an interesting
Yeah.
story.
So
That is interesting.
we've known each other for years, literally.
Wow. Okay. I think you kind of answered this, but is there? I was going to say who or what inspired you to be an attorney, but would you say it was your friend that you helped, or?
I think the friend that I helped was one thing.
Mhm.
Um, I thought it gave me an avenue to be able to make a difference for folks.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with law, but I knew I wanted to ultimately help people.
Mhm.
And so I knew that that would be a good option. I looked at grad school, but never could find anything that I thought that's just going to be great. And, you know, I'm happy, especially for my kids, because I think there are more resources now to find different jobs
Right.
that you can really branch out.
Mhm.
When I was growing up in a small town, if you were reasonably good at school, you were either a lawyer or a doctor.
Right.
And so those that I knew, I didn't want to be a doctor. And so lawyer was the next best thing, or
There,
was the next thing. And so I think just all that played into me deciding to go to law school. And I thought I'll just figure out what I'm going to do after that.
right.
Um, yeah, so I think it was not like I sat down and really did a flow chart of what I want to do. It was just it seemed like a reasonable option to meet the goals that I
Right.
had.
Just the path that, yeah, Um, if you weren't doing what you do now, was there something else that you want to do? Did you ever think about, you obviously didn't think about being a doctor, but I mean, was there anything else?
No, so I think really right now, and I've only been on the job 7 months, but I've loved being at Juvenile Court
Yeah.
and being the administrator there. It's just been great,
Yeah.
and so I think that may be, as of right now, I think that's the thing that
Mm-hmm.
I want to do and probably wanted to do before. Like I said, the practice of law I thought was fulfilling. I really liked the people and liked what I could do. But as far as like getting up in the morning and thinking I'm looking forward to going to work, like I have that now.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to have that instead of kind of I'm going to push through. It's now exciting actually to get up in the morning and think I'm looking forward to getting to work today.
Like, isn't it nice?
Oh, it's fantastic.
There's
It's great.
Hey,
And
32 years, that's what I've been saying. It's just, I
well,
love going to work.
you were one of the lucky ones and again, for 24 years, I don't want to say that I was miserable practicing law. I wasn't. There were a lot of good moments, and I enjoyed a lot of it. And certainly, it trained me to be where I am now.
Absolutely.
But it is nice now to wake up and just think I really enjoy the job and want to go into the office.
Right.
It's great.
It's nice to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and think that, right?
And not yes, not just dread get up because you just have to. Yes, yes, it is nice.
So, is there anything that makes you most proud of what you do right now?
No, and I think it's just overall. Again, I can, I'm able on a day-to-day basis. My job, I don't have as much direct contact with the kids or the parents. I'm not in court a lot. I can go in and watch, but I'm not there a whole lot
Mm-hmm.
and don't have any direct impact. The most impact I have is on our employees, being able to help them out, help them through situations or whatever might come up. And so I enjoy that.
Right.
But then also getting to talk with those other organizations and get them in, and because we have a lot of kids and parents that come to us who um, they just need a little help. They just get put in a bad situation, and if we can get them the help they need, hopefully we don't see them in court anymore.
Right.
And so that's been really just being able to do that and help. That has been nice.
Yeah.
And I should go ahead and plug. We have a thing called Safe Baby Court, and the state has funded this, and it is parents that come in that they're otherwise good parents, the kids are fine, but the parents just need resources. And so we're able to actually provide them with resources. So that way we knock out this issue of I can't be a good parent because I don't have money, I can't buy groceries, I can't get to places. So we do things like give out gift cards for Uber if they can't drive places. We help pay rent sometimes. We help get food. We help get car seats. Those types of things. And so that has been really rewarding to be able to make a difference in these families. And what we do is once they graduate, we have this graduation ceremony at the court, and we
Right.
get a cake and some presents for the kids. And just watching that and see how appreciative these parents are, and that the burden that kept them from being good parents, we're able to get to remove that burden.
Mhm.
And that's been really great to see that.
All right. Now that's really, I like that.
It's been good.
So you'll have to see if there's anything that we can do to help on that.
But yeah, that'd be great. That'd be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, that one is one that the state it has. It's a pretty good grant that the state provides for that,
Uh-huh.
and I think they're expanding it. So I think that it's showing that actually what we're doing for families is making a difference.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise, a lot of these kids that we're helping would be in foster care, and
Mhm.
so one of the complaints is that we're just paying these parents money.
Right.
They need to work for themselves and do it themselves. Uh, but really, the state, one is these parents needed some help, and two is we're actually probably saving money in the long run because we're keeping these kids out of foster care by
Mhm.
letting them stay with their parents. And so, yeah, it's just been a fantastic thing. But I think that the thing that the bar can do is make sure that the legislature keeps funding that program because it is such a good program that it just needs to be funded and frankly needs to be expanded. And I think they're looking at expanding it now.
I like that. Okay. I love that program.
It's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We have I'll give a shout out to Lawrence Ward. He's our Safe Baby Court coordinator, and he's just a fantastic person and does a great job and just has a tremendous amount of patience.
mhm.
And just he's really been a joy to work with in that program.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that program.
it's
Okay.
great.
Yep.
And if you want to hear more about it later on, Lawrence and I could probably both talk for days. He would be the more educated about it, so I'd
Okay,
be
good. I
happy to
would
get
love,
him.
yeah, I'd love to.
Great.
That's interesting. All right. What character trait do you most respect in other people?
Kindness. I think that's an easy one. We all like funny people. We like smart people, and I'm no exception. I enjoy that too. But just people being kind. I think especially people that don't have to be kind but are. Uh, that's the thing that I enjoy the most.
Yeah.
Uh,
How would friends describe you?
Hopefully as kind. I think they would. um, and I think
I would agree.
it may depend on what friend. My good friend that had the legal problems. He used to say that um, and he still harasses me about this, but he says that I feel things stronger than a lot of people, and that's probably true. I'm probably more emotional than I would sometimes even let on. But I think kind, helpful, hopefully,
Yeah.
uh, hopefully occasionally humorous. Most of them would probably say I'm relatively laid back, at least with them. So I think those are hopefully the things they would say.
Those are great. Yeah.
I'm,
I love it. I would have to agree.
well, thank you. You maybe ask them because they may have something completely different.
Okay, do you have a favorite quote?
I have a lot of favorite quotes. I love quotes. I don't know that we should live just by quotes, but I think sometimes they can remind us of things that are important to
Right.
us. It's funny, my oldest, who, for better or worse, may have been either blessed or cursed with the same, maybe feeling things a bit more strongly than others,
Right.
for Christmas this year bought me a cork board and actually made quotes, put quotes on circles, and then gave me blank ones for other people to fill in. And so I've got a cork board in my office with some quotes that he liked, that he thought I would like, and then these blanks for everybody, for other people to come in and make. And so I generally love quotes. I think it depends on what day of the week, maybe certainly what stage of my life I'm in, as to what quote I
Yeah.
like the most. Right now, it happens to be one from a band called Mount Joy. It's one of my favorite bands right now, and its song is "Bathroom Light," and the quote is, "Angels never leak the expiration date."
Yeah.
And it basically just says, be nice to your friends, be nice to your family, enjoy the moments because you never know when it ends. And so I just think that's a good reminder to enjoy your life day to day. So I think that probably right now, that's not it's not an Einstein quote or it's not a Marcus Aurelius quote. It's not one of those. It's from a
It's a
popular band now, but I
it's a
think it's
perfect
great.
quote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
it's great.
that's exactly. No, I like that. Um, what is one piece of advice that you could share with the listeners?
You think and I'm assuming that we're assuming or that we're thinking lawyers mostly are listening. And I think I think it would be to make sure that they take time for themselves and their families. I think we get wrapped up in representing our clients and being prepared for court and being prepared for trial, and that we oftentimes just forget, you know, we only get one life that we know of for sure. And so enjoy that and try to make sure that at the end of it, that whole, you don't want to wish you'd spent more time at the office.
Right.
I think that's probably the thing that I would think is the most important is enjoy yourself and your family.
I think that's a good place to end. That's
Great.
perfect because I think we all need to sit back and enjoy life. And through our adversities, we learn a lot,
That's right.
an awful lot. Um,
Yes.
so it's yeah, Keith,
Well, this has been great.
this has been great. I've gotten to learn a little bit more about you too. So this has been fun. Is there
Good.
anything you want to anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we've covered most of the things that I would have talked about. So I think this has been really good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being my guest
Well,
today.
thanks for having me on here. This has
All
been
right.
good.
And you have an awesome day.
All right.